Okay, so here we go. Welcome to our first version of a live looking at the robots. What we've got today is we have over here the EasyB interface for robots up, or any kind of robotic service. And using the picture-in-picture, we've actually got JD over on the table. We can see JD's there. We can make him take a bow, hopefully. There we go. He's taking a bow, and you'll see the picture in the camera view actually changing quite strangely as he moves around. Now, one thing I keep saying to everybody about the Easy robots is one of the things that they have that is brilliant is they have a camera interface built in. I'm just going to close a couple of windows on here. I'm closing the Wii interface because we're not going to run that. This would be the building piece where you can actually go through instructions as to how to build a robot. But this is the camera interface, and it's kind of cool. You can see our broadcast camera here. Obviously that's the back of my head, not very interesting really, but you can, this is the interface to the camera, and you can adjust the brightness depending upon where you are. You can adjust the contrast, and you can adjust the saturation. And you may look at it and think, well, what's important about adjusting saturation? Well, it may be that you want to do a project where you need to see particular colors, and if you have things be very saturated, it then becomes that much easier for the system to detect colors. Going across on here, you have tracking capabilities. You can make the robot track colors. You can make it track face, motion, QR code, custom HARs, glyphs. You can track multiple colors. You track objects. You have to teach it an object first, and in a later episode, we'll actually teach it about Lindor chocolates and have it follow them, which is what everybody should do. And you've also got a color by chromatic scale follow. Just to show you what it means, in here there's a motion detector, and you'll see as it detects the motion, that part of the image is going green, and you'll also see the red lines on there, and depending upon which which area it's in, he's tracking that. He's watching my hand. He's trying to turn around so he can see it. It's kind of clever, and obviously you can make it track quite well. Colors, you can make him look for colors. I've left the tracking turned on. I really need to turn that off because every time I move the mouse he's going to go crazy. Colors, you can make it track red, green, blue. You can also set your own particular colors. You can make it track multiple colors, so you can have color 1, color 2, whatever, add colors in, and you can change them from being red to whatever color you want. So you go in here off a scale, so you can have red and let's see, you can pick a color. Let's see, where are we? So you can basically determine what you want him to track quite easily. So he's now going to track colors moving around. We just did the tracking the motion. We did watching for the face, watching motion. You can change how sensitive it's going to be. You can see how big an object it has to be. You can make it ignore butterflies and see dogs. Training objects, you can make it look for an object, and we will do this later on with various objects, notably pieces of chocolate and stuff. Again, you can set your colors to follow on a chromatic scale, and if you look on here, however you want to build a particular color, you can go through here. So it's just a different way of being able to follow colors. And you can set a grid on your system. This is how those red lines on there move up and down. So it may be that you want might want to detect motion up here if you had a door up here in this corner, and that would be quite an important thing to do, being able to track it that way. You can go full screen with the setup, but that's sort of here or there. You have a motion, auto position things. We already did the make him take a bow. So there he goes, looking at the Easy Be Tiny. You'll see him in the top right taking a bow. You may notice he's got quite big feet, and one of the reasons he's got big feet is because he doesn't have gyroscopes and stuff like that. And you can make him do stuff like stand on one leg and pretend to fly. And hopefully he'll stand back up again. The reason why he's able to stand back up again without a gyro is those huge feet. And you'll notice down here there are a series of frames that go to build an action, and each one of these is a single movement, and those string together to be able to create the action, and you can transition from one to the next, and you can adjust the speed, you can adjust the steps. Obviously it's one of those things where you have to learn what you're doing so that you're not going to actually make it do something completely crazy. You can add music to play, either to play MP3 files. You can also add audio to it and do stuff like that. So as you saw there, he believes he can fly. It's kind of cool. You also have the ability on the robot, what looks like eyes are actually LEDs, and you can make them flip around and do crazy stuff. You can make them spin and roll. You can do all kinds of weird things with them. And that's sort of the basic setup. You can use this to make him walk around. There's a panic button, so if he looks like he's going to walk off the end of the table, you can just hit panic and he'll stop. But more importantly, because of the way this robot's designed, you also have the ability on here to add extra stuff. And I'm going to go from the general menu. And there's things like benchmarking, there's debugging, there's the size of the desktop you're going to work with. The robot itself has an HTTP server, which is how you communicate with it. It's its own web server, and you basically talk to the web server. The web server tells the robot what to do, and off it goes and does clever stuff. It understands about Twitter and things like that, so it allows you to connect to Twitter and do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. There's an info piece, and I just opened that, and I'm not sure where that appeared. Oh, here we go, the info. The input voltage is 7.47, so 7.5 volts on the battery, and the current operating temperature of the CPU is 25.5 degrees C. You can monitor stuff like that, so that if you're going to run out of power or you're going to overheat, it will tell you exactly what's going on. Okay, so then we have our analog to digital pieces. You can have a meter to see how much voltage is going on to a particular servo. You can read the values and that kind of thing. You can also graph them over time, so you can see what's going on. A certain level of AI, it has the ability to do this cognitive sentiment piece, and this is kind of clever, because basically what it does is take a picture of you, sends that picture up to Microsoft. Microsoft Cognitive Services look at the image and determine whether you're happy, sad, however you are. And this is kind of a neat forward-thinking thing for people looking at potentially designing smart homes and that kind of thing. It has the ability to detect how you're feeling. So, for instance, it could be you come home from work, you've had an awful day, and you look like poo, and it sees that and says, oh, I'll turn the lights down a bit. You don't want really bright lights. I'll put some quiet music on for you, and away you go. Or you may come in looking totally happy, in which case it'll turn on KC and the Sunshine Band or Earth, Wind and Fire or something happy so you can boogie around the place. Audio side, you can control the soundboard on the robot or in the PC. You can make it move relative to sound. You can do speech synthesis. We got speech synthesis here. You can have it say, "Hello, human." You can speak, as in "Hello, human." You can do all kinds of clever things with that. You can also use that to pass information that's coming back from the cognitive services. So things that come back from there with how happy or sad or whatever you are, you can take that and you can put that out to the text-to-speech piece. Speech recognition, you can make it listen to you. I got Bing speech recognition as well, and obviously you've got settings for speech synthesis. So if we looked at that, I don't know where they've put those. Okay, here we go. We've got different settings, so we can change to Hazel, for instance, and then if we go, so we can change that. You can change the speed. You can make it go fast, so you can adjust to suit purpose. Okay, next stage, going back to camera. Again, we've got camera device, which is what we were looking at earlier. Being able to push that out to a headset, taking a photograph. You can also take video with it as well and send video places. You can take a photograph and send it out to not only cognitive services, but also to Twitter and stuff like that. Cognitive emotion, we talked about how happy you are. Cognitive face is kind of cool. It'll look at your face and try and recognize you. And it'll also try and guess your age. It's usually within like 6 months of me. Cognitive vision allows you to do something, and I'm not sure our internet connection is working particularly well. No, it's not working that well. We can't actually connect up to Microsoft at the moment. So we'll have a look at that later on in another session. But normally what that would do would be to look at an image and describe the image for you. And you've also got the ability to look at a QR code and do what the QR code says. Reading and setting digital outputs, so you can make it move to a servo move to a particular place, or you can see where it is. H bridges are for controlling higher powered servos. So if you wanted to if you wanted to try and build something like Atlas, you could probably go a good head start. I2C is the extended serial connector, so you have long distance high speed serial port. You've got things like accelerometers, gyros, thermometers, combinations of all of them, blinking lights, LiDAR, compasses, RGB animators for doing RGB panels with LEDs and stuff. You can actually use it to make quite good entry levels into what sort of semi-autonomous vehicles and stuff like that. You've got an infrared radar module, again good for your autonomous vehicles. Miscellaneous bits, you have a floor map. You have Twitter recognition. You can make it look for particular hashtags on Twitter and do stuff with that. You can, it goes both ways. You look at Nest thermometers and things, joystick controls, MP3 triggers. You can control it with a Wii controller. You can set it up to run with a Wii controller, do stuff like that. On your mobile, you've got an interface builder, which lets you build a little interface to make it do stuff under control of an iPad or an iPhone or an Android tablet or phone. It's kind of clever. So you don't need all this stuff. You can make something for people to play with that doesn't actually need to have this interface. No plugins there at the moment. There are things out there that are available. You can add them. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. You can build your own plugins for it. PWM slider for your pulse width modulated motors, changing stuff around that way. Your scripting setup, one of the ways we saw earlier, the scripting for making him believe he can fly. This is where you can go in and edit those and build them and make them happen, make stuff happen. You've got scripts for movement, you've got sketchpads on there, you've got keyboard control capabilities, you've got an easy script editor to build scripts, and you've also got a script console to do things one step at a time, so you can actually build something and see how it works. On your servo side, you've got auto positions, so you can have it when you turn it on, bang, into an auto position, stand up straight, do whatever. Controls for continuous rotating servos, controls for horizontal servos, moving backwards and forwards, summary of servos that you have in the system. So if I click on that one, where did our servo summary go? I don't see it. It should have come up on there. It would be on there. It should show what the servos are doing. So where are we? Servos bow. Let's see, execute. That is supposed to push that out to there. I think maybe we have to actually link to the servo to see exactly which one's doing. So if we went to add in a servo, we'd have to select what port we're looking at. So you could pick that port. It's very graphic and easy to follow. And then again we're on board 1. Are we on board 1 or board 0, I think? Let's see, port D1. So if we click save on that, that's our positions. So if we now run something, you'll see the servos are moving on here. I forget what that one actually is. I think that's an arm piece. So anyway, you can adjust the servo speed. You've also got a vertical servo capability there. Third-party robot. It's not just for Easy Robot. You can connect in Spherobots, Wowies, Parrot Drones. I do have one of those, and I have driven it, and it's really fun. And you can even control your Rumba vacuum cleaner. You can move it around and make funny noises at your dog, which is kind of cool. Make it jump in the air. Touch panel. This again is for creating movement and interfacing with a tablet. So it's kind of an easy way to interface with a tablet, making a touch interface. And then finally we have ultrasonic, and again we'll see this in a later version. The developer kit comes with an ultrasonic adapter and a sensor rather, and we can see how this allows you to detect how far away it is from objects and things, and to put together a radar screen. So basically you get to see not just how far away it is, but where it is on a stereo basis. So that's Easy Builder from eRobot. I think the software is now written by Cynthium. It's a very powerful software tool, and while we've very quickly looked at that overview of it, I would just want to point out that obviously you've got all the interface like that, but you've also got an interface which will let you do Scratch, so you can run stuff in Scratch. You can build together different bits and pieces with your actions. You can build a program to make it do stuff. You can make it walk left, right, upside down, animate, say stuff, do so where we go. If we put that in, so we can make it say hello world, and you can do and I think I forgot to tell it where to say it. So you can make it speak and do all sorts of bits and pieces that way. This is Scratch. We also have the ability to create something in Blockly using it, and in Blockly you have the camera live all the time so you can see what it's doing. This was our panel interface. You have an interface on here, nice and simple, and this interface can be available to go on to an iPad or something like that. You can move the camera around so you can see where he's looking. It's kind of clever. You can make it track colors and bits and pieces. You can make him wave, so he's waving there at the camera. Kind of neat. You have a blank panel ready for you to build your own stuff, these workspaces, and then you have a very, very large scale remote control. So you've got him being able to move here. You've got various things like stand up, hand dancing. You've got again the camera movement, and it really is a wonderfully, wonderfully clever piece of software. And on that note, I'm going to leave you for today, and if you're wanting to get more information about these, again, you can email me as paul@steamuk.org. That's steamuk.org. Or if you want info on the robots directly from eZrobot, you can just go to eZrobot.com. That's ez-robot.com, and tell them I sent you. Okay, have a good evening, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.